Get ready for a little sibling switcheroo. This week, we're revisiting the 1996 teen classic Wish Upon a Star. Let's see if this Disney Channel favorite still holds up. Welcome to the No More Late Fees podcast. I'm Jackie.
And I'm Danielle, and we're just two best friends and ex-Blockbuster employees rewatching some of the best and worst movies of the late 90s and early 2000s. This week, we're heading back to the golden age of TV movies with Wish Upon a Star. But before we dive in, let's get into some housekeeping. Oh, what happened, Jackie?
I thought we nailed it.
I don't know. We'll see.
Andrew's going to be disappointed either way.
If you love the podcast and you want to support us, here's a few ways that you can.
If you love the podcast, help us out by leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Your reviews help us grow and keep the nostalgia alive.
And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. We've got a lot of really good deep dives coming up for you, I promise, so you don't want to miss it.
Do you want to show off your love for nostalgia? Check out our No More Late Fees merch at nomorelateFees.redbubble.com. From movie-inspired designs to podcast swag, we've got something for every movie lover.
And we're so excited to have our friend Bria back on the pod to help us break it all down. Welcome back, Bria.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
If you want to learn more about Bria, check out this week's bonus episode as we rank our favorite teen movie dances. And you can also listen to her previous episodes on 7, Love and Basketball, and You Can Play That Game.
All right, let's get into Wish Upon a Star. The movie follows two sisters, the stylish and popular Alexia and the brainy and awkward Hayley, who wake up one morning to find they've switched bodies. As they struggle to navigate each other's lives, they gain a new understanding of what it's like to be in each other's shoes, literally. The movie stars Katherine Heigl, Danielle Harris, Donnie Jeffcoat, and Lois Childs. It was directed by Blair True and written by Jessica Barondes. I hope that's right. You can currently watch it on Peacock, Prime, Tubi, Pluto, and Hoopla if you have your library card. But before we start, let's get into our ratings rewind.
So you know the drill. Before we get into the movie, we'll reveal the rating our Y2K versions of ourselves would give. Then at the end, we'll see if our current selves agree with our initial rating. Our scale consists of would buy it again.
The best will play and repeat.
5-day rental.
Would watch again.
2-day rental.
It's all right.
And same-day rental.
I don't know what other ways to say trash anymore.
Basura.
I don't like it. It sucks.
Be gone.
Be gone, devil.
So, Bria, what was your Y2K rating of Wish Upon a Star?
Oh, would buy it again. One of those movies that would come on Disney Channel or something, and you're like, oh my God, like this is that one movie, like, you're excited to see. So, love this movie.
On God. Mm-hmm. Jackie?
Did you say on God?
I sure did.
Won't you do it?
Mine would be a 5-day. I enjoyed this movie anytime I caught it on TV.
5-day.
Not the judgment.
I really thought this was going to be.
I'm sorry.
Unanimous. You're fucking it up, Jackie.
I never sought it out, which would have been the difference between a would buy. Danielle sleeping.
I remember seeing it on
Swimming
streaming. Oh my God. That was amazing. Danielle, come back. She can't hear us.
No, she took her headphones off.
But I remember seeing this finally like on streaming and being super excited about it because, movies like Model Behavior and Susie Q or things like that, like it's super hard to find some of those. So
Yeah. And it
oh,
wasn't
she's back.
she's swimming back.
Oh my God, does she break up the
Are,
DVD? Is that
are
a
you
DVD?
Oh, she does have the DVD. Danielle, what is your Y2K rating of Wish Upon a Star?
Would buy it.
Bought
Would
it,
buy it.
got it.
I love how you just swam away.
Yes. What you missed was me saying how excited I was when it finally was on streaming and stuff and you could watch it freely, because movies like Model Behavior, Susie Q and stuff, like they don't exist on streaming, or at best you get somebody who taped it on and it's on YouTube or something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Model Behavior is not. Actually, one of our guests, Gina, has like a whole theory. She talks about it on TikTok that she believes that Justin Timberlake
Yeah.
like got it
Scrubbed
removed.
it.
Yeah. Because you really
Why?
can't see it. And even on YouTube, like anytime someone puts it up there, it just disappears.
Yeah.
But that one, I know people have found it on VHS and stuff. So
Yeah.
like our other guest, Megan, aka Take Girl, I just saw her find a copy.
Nice.
So
I've
I'll have to
seen
be on the
the
lookout.
VHS. Yeah, but it's super rare. But
yeah.
I know it exists, and some of those people, can you rip it to DVD and sell it?
Right. Because I'm like, oh man, I don't know if we'll ever be able to do that one. But speaking of DCOMs, so I did a few TikToks that were talking about the difference between a Disney Channel original movie, which is a DCOM, or a Disney Channel premiere film, or a Wonderful World of Disney, which was on ABC.
Yeah.
And so many of those movies at that time, especially because sometimes the Magical World of Disney movies would actually play on Disney Channel, a lot of people were calling all the movies DCOMs, and they are not all DCOMs. This one is not a DCOM. It premiered on Disney Channel, so that meant it wasn't produced by Disney. It was produced by another company and essentially bought, and they premiered it on Disney Channel. So that is why the formula for this one is not like they talk about sex and virgins and all sorts of things that are like a no-no. And I don't know, I didn't check if it was on Disney Plus, but I don't think it is.
It's on Prime, so
It's on Prime, but like because it's not an official DCOM, I was like, I wonder where Disney was going to fit with it,
yeah.
And I didn't see it, but I could be wrong. So that is a misconception. It is not a DCOM per se, but it did air on the Disney Channel. And because it's a TV movie, we have no box office, but the film did get a positive rating from Fox Weekly. It gave the film an 8 out of 10. Accurate. And on August 15th, 2002, the movie was re-aired on the Disney Channel and it had 3.4 million viewers.
Nice.
So it is a cult classic for sure. And I think like one of the first things I noticed when I started to get on the interwebs and TikTok and stuff, it's definitely a movie that's talked about quite a bit. Also,
it's one of those impressionable movies, that's why.
It is the fashion, like watching it, you feel like you were at that time. Like it just, the nostalgia is heavy for that one. And it was right after Clueless, so I think anything that came after that was similar in that way, I was eating that shit up.
Yeah, you could tell they reheated like Clueless's fashion notches. I said this is like Freaky Friday meets Clueless too, because even the opening scene with her picking out her outfit, she may not have Cher's amazing computerized closet, but it's still that vibe of like getting ready and all that stuff. So
yeah, plus she drives a Jeep, the clothes,
yes,
and then I felt like Tina Fey must have watched this movie because some of the way that the girls, her Alexia and her friends operate with the rules.
Yeah.
I was like, Seems odd. So now, Jackie, Tina Fey,
Snow Day,
Snow Day,
and Wish Upon a Star.
And I just want to say I have the burn book here, but I don't think I'm going to need it for today's episode.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
So before we get into the cast and crew, let's hear a message from one of our pod pals.
Welcome to Spooky Tuesday, a horror movie podcast hosted by three girls who love fake blood,
Matthew Lillard,
and making everything gay.
We're breaking down all of our favorite slashers,
thrillers,
monster movies,
and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week.
You can find Spooky Tuesday wherever you listen to podcasts.
And watch our video episodes on YouTube.
Find out more at www.spookytuesdaypod.com.
See you next Tuesday.
Okay, cast and crew. Where to start? Danielle Harris, who plays little sister Hayley, is actually a year older than Katherine Heigl, who plays older sister Alexia, but 10 inches shorter than Heigl, which helped create the illusion that Harris is younger than her.
Yeah, I get it. Because at this, like, when I think about this movie, and one of the attractions that I know originally to watch it was that I love the movie My Father the Hero, and Katherine Heigl was in that. I didn't know too much later how young she was in that movie and how gross it was that the guy, I think she was like 14 maybe in that movie, and the guy love interest was like damn near in his maybe 20s. It was gross. Anywho, because I love that movie, I was like, oh, I definitely have to go see that. And it just, it's like she just kept on going into this. She went from My Father the Hero, this movie I was obsessed with. And that was one of the reasons I was drawn to Roswell, was because I was like, oh, my girl, Katie's in it. You got to see it. And then she went into Grey's Anatomy. I was like, got to see. I kept following her.
Yeah.
But also Danielle Harris was a draw because I loved Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Is she on? Is that her? Yes, that's her.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, got to see this movie. Back to Katherine Heigl really quick. She did say that like she was about 17 when she filmed this movie, and you know, she absolutely loved making the movie, but it was the first time that like her metabolism kind of changed and she couldn't just eat whatever she wanted without gaining weight. So that was like really hard for her. And she said somebody had made a comment on the internet because it was just starting to pop up around that same time. And somebody said she had thunder thighs, and was like, oh my God.
In this
That's
movie?
crazy.
So
I think from this movie, yeah. Yeah. They gave her a hard time. And, you know, like she has big boobs, so that always makes you look a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
So I think she had a hard time with that because she used to be a model.
Oh, one more thing about casting. Was I the only one who like watched a shit ton of Nickelodeon? And so as soon as Donnie Jeffcoat's name came up, I was like, Wild and Crazy Kids with Donnie Jeffcoat and Omar Gooding.
Yeah.
Like...
I didn't think of that, but you know, I thought of a soap opera. Fun fact.
Yes.
There multiple layers to this. One Life to Live, he played Joey Buchanan as a replacement for Nathan Fillion, who originated, well, I would say originated, because you know that like on soap operas there's little kids, and then when they grow them up to like do the teenage stuff, that's when Nathan Fillion was in it. And the funny thing is that, remember when we went to see Sweet Charity and I like touched that lady by pure insanity? Now
You grabbed the lady? Yes.
She's fine. She played Dorian Lord on the show and was like an older, they had like a coupling, an older lover thing. And so when they switched, that Jeff didn't really fit that. So that storyline was like out the window. But I always remember that he took over for Nathan, and I was not happy because I was like, you okay? But when I saw him in this, I was like, oh, there's Joey Buchanan. So that's how I remembered him. But you're right, he was on that show. I never liked that show.
You didn't like Wild and Crazy Kids?
No, because it was like it always took like they threw. I never understood why it was always fucking on, and I wanted to see Clarissa. I wanted to see
Oh,
my
no.
shows,
I was
but it
Yeah.
I was down for Wild and Crazy Kids.
I
it
only
just felt like
remember.
Field Day, and I was like, I
Yeah.
never liked Field
Yeah.
Day.
I still would love to have like a Wild and Crazy Kids party, like water
That's-
balloons, water gun
yeah.
fights,
Ooh,
like
that would be
pies to the
fun.
face, like all the things. Like, but yeah.
It was a time for
It
sure.
was.
And
It
now
was
kids
like,
don't even play outside. So
yeah.
No.
And it was like the challenge and like the kid version of the challenge and like
Is that what
it was
started
like a
it for you?
precursor to like reality shows.
Yes, and that's why it was played all the time because it was probably cheaper to produce.
So Wish Upon a Star, it starts out, we see Hayley Wheaton, who they always bill her as like quirky and awkward, but I didn't feel like I felt like she was just like a regular student that was
Yeah.
like good at school.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
I
didn't
think
she
she was a
was-
late bloomer. Like,
Yeah. She wasn't nerdy. I think if like her sister wasn't who her sister was, there wouldn't even be those comparisons kind of
Mm-mm.
thing. So I
Yeah.
think because her sister is like Miss Popularity, it makes her seem like there's not enough room for her to be. She's
Yeah.
the smart one. That's like kind of
Yes.
where she is.
And she's the smart one in a seemingly like highly intelligent family. So
Right.
her parents seem to both be psychiatrists, psychologists, something of
Yeah.
that nature. They're constantly reading like parenting
Parenting,
magazines and like sciencey.
Psychology Today.
Yeah.
It made me
Yeah.
think of the parents from Get Over It. Because
Yes.
they too were, they had their own show, but they too were psychologists, whatever. And so was the mom from Freaky Friday.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that's a new
What is
career
it
for the
about?
parents.
You can either be a magazine journalist or you're a psychiatrist or psychologist. Those are the avenues for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we do meet Alexia, played by Katherine Heigl, and she's just seemingly vapid, just very into looks. She doesn't care if she's late for school. She's just into fashion and her boyfriend and her Jeep.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, first of all, the mirror that she has hanging in her closet, I used to
Yes.
like be like, I need that mirror because
Yeah.
it's like this big wooden mirror with, what does it say? The fairest of them all or something
Mirror,
like
mirror
that.
on the wall.
Mirror,
Yeah.
mirror on the wall. Thank you. And then you see her getting her stuff out of a closet, this cute lavender mini skirt with like a white trim, these huge white platform like buckled shoes, and then she has like this little tiny tank top with midriff. There's no
Mhm.
way that
Mm-mm.
she would have gotten away with that at especially our school, especially how short the skirt was. She's wearing some pantyhose, it seemed. And then she had like a
Knee-highs.
leather jacket.
Yeah.
Maybe it was knee high. It looked like her flesh color when it was up close.
Oh.
I don't think it was knee highs.
Maybe I'm thinking the blue outfit.
Yeah, the blue outfit had white knee highs for sure.
Yeah.
And then
And
she had a
her
red Jeep.
frosted lavender
Yes.
lipstick.
Yeah.
Yes. And the eyeshadow. Like it was like a whole look. It made me think of like the 17 magazines,
Mhm.
all the makeup we were trying to get. We wanted to smell like bubble gum and we wanted to shimmer everybody. We
Yeah.
wanted pastels on our nails. And we wanted
Body
platform
glitter.
shoes, body
Yes.
glitter. It was a time. Oh God, I used to look at women in the 90s that were still dressing like the 70s, and I'm like, when you gonna let that shit go? And now I understand it. Because
Yeah.
if I could still just wear what I was wearing in high school, I probably would.
Right. I feel like it's interesting, like everything's so aesthetic now with
Yeah.
the Gen Z generation, but I feel like it's a great time to have like a niche, so to speak, and like, you know, there's nothing really that isn't cool. It's like what you make it almost. I feel like trends are just so fast and just whatever that it's not like everyone's doing the same thing anymore.
Yeah.
So I can bring this frosted lipstick
You
to my
can.
everyday life.
I'm gonna be a good friend and say, don't do that, dog.
Well,
Don't do
hopefully it comes off at some point tonight because
As long as you stop before you look like Mimi from Drew Carey's
yeah.
show. Don't get too carried away.
So we can see like Hayley is kind of envious of Alex's perfect life. A little later on, we find out that before Alex gets home, Hayley and her best friend go into Alex's room and like try to read her diary, and like Hayley's fawning over the picture of Alex's boyfriend and stuff. So she wants what she doesn't have.
Yeah.
We see that Alex has a group of friends very similar, like we said, to Mean Girls. They're very cliquish. And then also her boyfriend, he basketball team, apparently. I was gonna say football, but he has a Letterman's jacket and he plays basketball, which fun fact, the actor that plays him is notoriously bad at basketball. So much so they had to refilm some of the scenes. He was extremely uncoordinated, so they had to reshoot a good amount of the times that he was playing due to his lack of talent with the basketball. Damn. I think they should have saw pretty early on that he sucked and just say, you know what, we're just gonna get a back shot.
Yeah, just or just dribble the ball a little bit. We don't need you actually like shooting a basket.
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of rare that they have like, unless the movie like it centers more so around basketball, that they have like the jockey boyfriend be a basketball player instead of a football player.
Yeah.
But I wonder why. It might be because it was cold. Like we saw the snow outside when they were filming, so trying to do football would have been a lot.
Yeah.
And it also was filmed in Utah, so maybe that had something to do with it as well.
Which continuity, like how is she riding around in a Jeep with no top? Like,
And mini
and there's snow
skirts.
outside.
Yeah.
Right. Once I saw the Colorado plate, I was like, how practical is this Jeep like this? Like,
that was also weird that like I don't think they ever really tell us where this is supposed to take place, but that is the only sign that we have that it's in Colorado.
yeah.
Is because of the license plate she has. But I think it's just how dedicated Alex was to her fashion.
Look. Yeah.
Because her sister would wear like long sleeves. She always looked warm except
Yeah.
for the leather outfit situation.
As Cardi B said, hoes never get cold. Alexia was on that shit. She was like, cold where? Do you see these legs?
And we do see at school, Hayley has a science project that she's hoping to be able to take to nationals, it seems like. And then I did not really understand what Alexia was doing because, like, she did not have a great GPA, but she was trying to sweet talk the very militant principal into writing her a letter of recommendation to a college.
She was pulling a Cher on
Yes.
negotiation.
She was reheating Cher's nachos up for the 5 billionth time this movie. Yeah, her like negotiation skills or like, you know, trying to sweet talk her way into better grades, like that definitely gave that vibe from Alexia.
And I think that's her whole thing. Like one of the reasons I feel like she's been probably okay with not getting good grades is the fact that her other skills, her transferable skills, is that she's able to sweet talk people into doing what she wants, getting what she wants, and that she's extremely pretty. And I'm sure in her family dynamic, because all the attention was always on Hayley for her grades, it was almost like she probably felt discouraged to even try to compete. So I could see that line for her in her mind. But I love that the principal's like, she doesn't know that Alex has bad grades, and she butters her up, and she's like, let me just type real quick and see what this 2 point something grade average. And she's like, what
Man.
exactly do you want me to say in this letter per se?
It was like in just one of them days when she's looking at their
The credit score.
Yeah. It's like, oh my God, I've never seen a GPA that low. Like,
Yeah.
sorry, could not be me. But
So we see the girls really don't have any common ground, and the parents are kind of like, okay, we learn this approach where we just don't say shit to them, and they work it out themselves.
Which is it's wild business because Alex is just wearing whatever she wants,
Yeah.
right? The clothes she's wearing, and the mom, before they come to this conclusion, is like literally running after her, like, honey, we should say something. And I'm just like, why y'all acting like you don't have the power in your
Yeah.
house?
And this is a brand new problem
Right.
based on all the shit in her closet.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do take this approach that they're like, oh, if we just leave them alone, everything will be fine. That it does turn out well. Their book is going to sell, and it's going to lead a bunch of parents down
Yeah.
a horrible road because they have no idea that the children have swap bodies.
Yeah.
yeah.
And learn lessons not from their great parenting strategies, but because they just wanted to become themselves again.
Which, yeah. This movie is that typical, like, you know, walk a mile in somebody else's shoes,
Yes.
so to speak. And like, or the grass is greener on the other side. Both of them think each other has it better off, which too was surprising towards the end because Hayley, as Alexia, doesn't realize she wasn't the one who like only made the wish.
Mhm.
Right.
And Alexia tells her, like, I wished as well. And that's how they finally realize how they can get back to being themselves. But yeah, I think that was a nice twist because it's like, yeah, like, you know, I'm pretty and all that stuff, but like, you know, you're smart and I'm envious of that too. And
Yeah. I like that too, that
Mhm.
different perspective. But like I think the question that plagued me the most with this movie always is how many shooting stars are there? Those
Oh,
girls
right.
waiting on shooting stars like it was an everyday occurrence, like when the moon comes out at night. Like I
Yeah.
was like, I don't think those happen very
They
often.
do. You just have to be dedicated to watching the sky.
But it's almost like there was a forecast. Like they were like,
Right.
oh, it's great to stargaze. So that means a shooting star is going to happen. Like that's not always a guarantee. You can look at the stars all night and not see a damn thing. Like,
Right.
But
they were in a good, like if they were in Colorado or Utah, that would probably be easier to see than like
yeah,
in a bigger
big
city. Yeah.
According to the Googles, you can usually see a few to several dozen shooting stars per hour on any given night.
Interesting.
way.
However,
Look
the
at us
frequency
learning.
varies depending on location, weather, and time of the year.
All right, well, there we go. This movie had more scientific evidence than most.
Myth busted. Also, I feel like science fairs were gonna play a bigger part in my life than they actually did.
I don't remember doing a science fair in high school at all. And
Right?
I had more science credits when I graduated high school than English and math put together.
Wow.
Because the bitch was going to science camp during the summer. And I took like advanced science classes. I would have like 2 science classes a year. Because I was
Yeah,
nerdy like that.
Never. Never.
Because
I
Jackie,
was-
did you have to take chemistry?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I took chemistry and I did bio 2 honors.
I
What
did,
else did I take?
earth science, biology, chemistry. Then I took marine science with Miss
Oh.
Bird. No, what was her name? She got googly eyes. I'll have to ask Heather. So anyway, back to Wish Upon a Star. So one night, Hayley wishes on a shooting star to trade lives with Alex, imagining all of the perks of being her older sister. So the next morning, they wake up. Apparently, they both walk to the bathroom with their eyes closed.
I think they're just still like they
Like,
still have sleep in their
sleep
eyes.
in. Yeah.
But can we talk about like I know, Jackie, I should not be talking, but Haley's gum situation is ridiculous because what do
Yes.
you mean you're putting gum fucking everywhere on wicker furniture?
Yeah.
Girl. And also that gum still being wet the next morning, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, that's not realistic.
No.
Danielle
As
knows
somebody
that from
who
experience.
I'm a gumologist, and I'll tell you right now, sweetheart,
Well,
it is not still wet.
I thought the gum was going to play a bigger arc. Like her parents were going to figure out that they were in each other's bodies because all of a sudden Alexia is chewing all the gum or something. But it was just a trait that never went anywhere.
Right. And
Yeah.
just her sister yelling at her that she's going to get cavities.
Yeah.
But for the parents to realize what's going on would so go against the parents of the 90s and
It's true.
2000s movies because they're not paying attention. They're
They're deep
working.
in psychology today.
Right. Parenting magazines at the dinner breakfast table or whatever. Also, we get a lot of 90s anti-fatness stuff going on because
Yeah.
Alex has she's very cognizant about eating and lack thereof since she's on a diet culture. And literally at one point she's like, I am only eating fruits and vegetables
Mhm.
and juicing, which not good.
Yeah.
Not
I
good at
think
all.
I mean it's so like it's so casual back then, but I
Yeah.
think it's interesting watching like the fact that when she's Hayley, she's like just stuffing her face, and like there was one point where she's like eating spaghetti or something,
Yeah.
and she's like tearing it up, and I had to be like, why is she so hungry? But then I was like, oh, it's because she
been
typically
starving.
is starving and dieting so much that she doesn't enjoy food really. She's just so conscious about it. And then too, like the fact that like their friend group have those rules where it's like, oh, we only eat this or drink, we bring each other sodas and stuff and are
And
helping
they have a
each other
scale in
monitor.
their locker.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, things we went over our heads were just normal to us growing up, but now like rewatching it, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
rough.
So once they've swapped, they first, like, Alexia is not happy. She's like, put us back. She's like pretending it's a birthday and like make a wish, throwing pennies in the well, which is the toilet. Like she is trying whatever she can to get their bodies switched back, and it's just not happening. And Haley's like, I wished upon a star. That's how you have to swap us back, is to find another shooting star. And then, but Haley's enjoying herself. She gets to like get all cute. She gets to go and like hang out with the cool kids and talk to the boyfriend. So she's like, she's good. Whereas Alexia is so out of water because she's like in these advanced science classes and had to take a test for Hayley, and she doesn't know anything about constellations. So there was a little bit of, well, just fake like you're sick and
Yeah.
get out of the test. But Hayley was living her best life as Alexia that first day.
And this is like another iconic outfit. It's a blue and white skirt with a white button down and a blue pleather kind of like zipper
Yeah.
vest.
Yeah.
And I think she's wearing knee highs. Is it
Platform
white
shoes.
platform shoes again, or
Yeah.
I don't
I
remember
think
what
so,
color.
yeah.
Yeah.
She's got
Yeah.
the cute little white backpack. Like,
I went to look up to see who the costume designer was for this movie. It is Rosemary E. Bengal, I think. Or is
Sure.
it Jen? Yeah. And she also was the costume designer for, I thought I guess I didn't didn't save it. For some other DCOMs. I think The Luck of the Irish was one, The Paper Brigade.
oh, I
Um,
love the Paper Brigade.
I don't
Is
remember
that
watching that one.
Oh my God, that treehouse in that movie, like, oh my God. Yeah. If you ever do that movie.
I'm trying to see what the other two were that she did. Oh,
She had
sorry.
on blue platforms in this outfit. But
Oh, okay. Let me redo this. So I looked up the costume designer, and it's actually, her name is Lon Cole, and she was also the costume designer for Dumb and Dumber, Halloween 4, Halloween 5, and then a few other Disney Channel movies like The Paper Brigade, like I said, and The Luck of the Irish, Hounded, Double Teamed, and I think one called The Proof Point.
I love that movie. Well, good job to her for, stealing Clueless's blueprints. But these are still like very different and still like very memorable, coveted outfits. And I want to say there's a girl on TikTok, I forget her name, but I followed her, and I want to say she recreated this outfit. And she also did like the dress from My President's Daughter, the like
pink one,
crushed
yeah.
velvet. Yeah. So she really pulled it off. But this is like, again, a timeless 90s. Like, I think this should be a costume that more people try to like, do and like kind of like, oh, if you know, you know.
Right. I think also the difference between Clueless and this one, it's that it felt very much like an everyday 90s girl wearing it versus like some of the stuff Cher would wear. Nobody was affording that until after the movie came out, and they were producing it like crazy.
Yeah, Cher taught us some fashion, like Alaya and Calvin Klein and stuff like that. And it's like, what's an Alaya? It's like a very important designer. Like Alexia at best was like hitting up her local wet seal at the mall and stuff like that.
It was at the 579.
But turning out a look, nevertheless. Yeah.
With Alaya, I remember watching the documentary on the supermodels, and they were talking about Naomi Campbell's trajectory and how she was taken in by the guy who was the designer for Alaya, and I was like, oh, I know what that is.
No, the zeitgeist with Clueless is definitely a little more broader than Wish Upon a Star, but very accessible.
So now we see, like you said, Jackie, Hayley was having a time. Well, Alex was having a time as Hayley eating all the ice cream. Now, was it ho-hos or Swiss rolls? I don't know. But I saw one, something
Swiss
similar.
rolls.
It was a Swiss roll?
Yeah, the box was on the counter. And it looked like a bear got to it. Like it wasn't just open, like it was torn open. Because Alexia as Hayley faints and pretends like she's sick to get out of the science test. So when her mom picks her up, she's like, can we get snacks and go to Blockbuster? So there was a Blockbuster shout out in this movie.
Love it.
And then, you just see her like gorging herself on the couch, living her best life. But then eventually her best friend comes over. I'm like, if you're sick, why you got a friend over? And why are you answering the door for the neighborhood kid with the bad haircut?
Question. Why couldn't we have gotten a cuter kid? I'm sorry, no hate to that man, but he was not a handsome kid. Like, I did do an IMDb deep dive to see, did he get better with age? Where is he now? What caught my eye is that he was on an episode of Veronica Mars, Jackie. So now I have to like go back and
see that.
Yeah.
He was definitely eating Breckin Meyer's nachos. Like that's what I got from that casting, was like trying to cast a Travis from Clueless almost, where he's like the skater kid to Hayley's kind of grungy Sky,
Yes. Okay, that's a different perspective. I didn't think about that. I just was like, he got to know somebody, because what is this? What are we doing?
Like hair, Nepo child extra.
He comes and brings cookies over to Hayley, aka Alex, and she takes a cookie. She's like, "Peace out, bud," and he's just so like confused, because she doesn't know that she doesn't like that
Yeah.
Hayley's never met this person before because
Yeah.
he's new. You kind of see scenes of him moving in next door in the beginning. So he's just like, what the fuck? Okay. So it
And
is
then
what it is.
meanwhile, back at school, Hayley as Alex is starting to struggle really during lunch with like all of these social rules that Alex and her friends have in place. But then somehow like loops her Haley's best friend into like sitting with them and introducing them and like, hey, be cool to her and stuff. So it's like it gets in this muddy water of like in the next couple of days is like, oh, let's not hang out with them, but like she's already introduced the best friend, so it's like, sorry, I made a mistake.
Right. Because she knows how much her best friend like has always wondered what it was like to eat with them and what they would talk about and stuff like that. And during this like interaction as well, she finds out that she broke up with her boyfriend because of these stupid ass rules that she has. She broke up with Kyle, and so now she's like panicked as Hayley.
What's
Hayley
the
is
point of that rule? Like,
To not get too attached, to not have to bone. I don't know what the point of that rule
they
is.
want to taste all the flavors at the ice cream shop. That's what the rule. I don't know. They probably read it in some Cosmo magazine or something stupid.
right.
And so she tries to beg with Kyle or whatever, and then he just says like, I'll drive you home from school, which by the way, Hayley, aka Alex, drives them to school, and I don't know why it would have been bad for her to drive because yes, she's a little bit shorter, but like it still would have worked, right?
I think the idea was like,
And she's not 16. Like,
yeah, Alexia is like old enough to have her license, where I think Hayley was supposed to be like a freshman.
Right, but the thing was that the reason that was even caught on the radar of the principal is because the way that she like kind of drove into the parking space kind of crazy, like she couldn't drive.
But it was really, yeah, Alexia.
That's usually how she drove.
Oh, so
Yeah.
okay, she's just a bad driver. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she's like sharing that way as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
In a Jeep. Don't
Yes.
Ken was upset because like when Haley's trying to drive as Alexia herself and Kyle home, the Jeep is a manual transmission and obviously she doesn't know how to work it. And Ken's like, I watched the other girl put it into drive at the column earlier when it was an automatic Jeep, and now they're trying to tell me that this is a manual Jeep. He was very upset.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I didn't
The
even
continuity.
notice.
Yeah.
I couldn't drive the manual. I wrote that down. I was like, "Ooh, how many of us could actually drive a stick shift?"
Jackie
these
can,
days? Like,
not me. I'm
Yeah.
like, passenger princess. So she does pick up Kyle. So Kyle gets in the car and he's like, what the fuck? He's like, I think I'm gonna drive because
Yeah.
bitch, you gonna kill us for real. So they get back together. But like before she drops Kyle off, they have a good old fashioned makeout sesh, and he starts canoodling on her neck. So she comes home. They're having dinner, and Alex in Hayley's body is like, "Bitch, where you been?
Yeah.
Like all afternoon, where you been?" And she's like, "Oh, nothing." Blah blah blah. But then of course she spots the hickey and she's like, I need to see you. And she's like, is that a fucking hickey? And she's like, is that what that's called?
Oh my God. There's so much like, because how are you doing that in my body? Like, I don't know.
Right,
That's where it might be a little weird to switch with somebody because it's just like, okay, yes, you have my body, but it is on loan. Like, do not be out here putting numbers on me and like all kinds of stuff.
So now she's like freaking out because you're like, you hoeing out my body without my permission. But it's also like a really good way for them to show that the sisters do not talk to each other about stuff,
Yeah.
which reminds me of the Stratford sisters a lot, of like not just the miscommunication because they both are assuming a lot of things are happening. And later on in the movie, we find out that Alex is a virgin and she blurts that out, like, what are you going to do next? Lose my virginity. And this is like a huge surprise to Hayley because she has assumed at this point that her and Kyle have done it. And
Yeah.
same thing with the Stratford sisters, like having that tension between the two of them. They don't talk about like things. And for our older sister, younger sister, it kind of sucks because she could help, you know, her with that. So I thought that was interesting. And then it's all out war between the two of them because
the things that happen, the outfit that is worn the next day.
First of all, the parents are so at fault for this shit because you let that girl go out, even though Halloween, yes, is an excuse, as we learned from Mean Girls, for everyone to dress like a slut.
Yeah.
But that dominatrix situation, she even had the whip, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And you're shocked that Hayley thinks that you've already lost your virginity when that was your Halloween costume?
I don't even think in high school I knew what a dominatrix outfit was.
Oh, I did because I
did.
watched Real Sex on HBO.
Well, now that we're spilling our secrets, yeah. I don't think I saw that on Real Sex though, but yeah, I think I knew by then what a dominatrix was and stuff. But
I think
I would not think
Oh,
a friend would wear something like that for Halloween.
No.
It was like it was not a costume. Like she went straight to the
To
sex
a
shop
sex shop, yeah.
and bought the leathers.
The closest thing I could recall in media from that age seeing was Rosie O'Donnell's character.
Yes. In
In
another
that movie.
stakeout.
Yes.
Yes.
She wore something like
Right?
that. But
no,
I don't
Exit
think
to Eden.
Exit to Eden. Yes, that's what it was. Yeah.
Speaking of the OC, Summer, when she was Little Miss Vixen and she dressed up. Well, she dressed up as Wonder Woman,
yeah.
but as Little Miss Vixen, she had a whip and she had like a corset, like kind of leather thing going on
Yeah.
there. So that was pretty as close as I got, I think, to something similar. But yeah.
Yeah, that outfit was wild, but it did add when she got to school and Hayley, aka Alex, did a full-on table dance in the cafeteria,
Yeah.
which puts her in the Hall of Fame of other table dancers like Kat Stratford at the party.
Bogey Lowenstein's
Bogey's party.
Mhm.
And also, I would say maybe a Coyote Ugly situation would go in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if
Yeah.
any other
The
table
girl
dances.
from Bring It On during the auditions where the guy is like leaning
the
back.
twat.
Her old twat was hanging out to cherry pie. My brain immediately goes to like Jerry O'Connell and Scream 2, but that's a different kind of table dance.
Yes, very cleaner cut table dance. Yeah.
Also, we're skipping the fact that the way Hayley decides to embarrass Alexia as Alexia is to outfit repeat, and she wears the same outfit from the day before and like totally looks a mess.
And admits that she didn't bathe.
Yeah.
You know how that triggered
shower?
me.
She didn't brush her hair.
Did she brush her teeth? Who knows?
They had like the prom or whatever dance pictures
for the newspaper.
She's making faces. I'm like, oh, that
Yeah,
picture's gonna fucking live forever in the yearbook.
Right. It was in the newspaper.
Yes. Oh man.
Yeah.
And Kyle doesn't seem to give a shit. He don't even notice that, hey, baby, you wearing the same clothes from yesterday?
Well, he's actually more attracted to her because she like isn't wearing makeup because I'm assuming Hayley probably doesn't understand how to do makeup. So she like forgoes that and he's like, wow, you look like so beautiful, natural, and like without all this makeup and stuff. And of course she's like, oh yeah.
Mission accomplished.
Right.
But they do start to realize that like each other's lives are not a cakewalk. Like
Right.
they each have their own challenges. Hayley realizes as Alexia, like the kind of mean girl space that Alexia is kind of she created, but has kind of painted
Pigeonholed
herself
herself
into a
in.
corner with,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where she feels like she can't get out. And then Alexia as Hayley, just realizing Hayley is just not comfortable in her own skin and like not willing to go and like put herself out there to like have a relationship or anything like that. So then they start to kind of help each other in that way. Hayley as Alexia talks to the friends is like, hey, why don't we just get rid of these rules? Like, why
Right.
do we need these? And conversely, Alexia as Hayley is like, starts befriending boys and kind of making Hayley more cool, it
Yeah.
seems.
Yeah. But the catalyst for this isn't that they just saw each other's stuff. They got in fucking trouble
Yeah,
from
they were in
the
the principal's
principal.
office.
No,
Like, in the bathroom.
Alex goes to the bathroom and writes, Alexia Wheaton is a wench
Yeah.
on the freaking tile.
It's
And
crazy
then-
though because they're still writing it as their own selves. So
Right.
it's like Hayley writes, Hayley Wheaton is a wench, but it's Alexia in Haley's body. So I was
Yeah.
like, wait, why are you writing that about yourself? But then I was like,
Yourself,
oh
yeah.
wait. Yeah.
Oh man. But yes, they do find common ground, and I do love that part of the shift of the movie is that they're
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
really trying to help each other, and they do come to a truce where Alexia's like, okay, let's help me while we're still in each other's bodies. Why don't you help me convince some of these teachers that I'm not a moron? And she has to also go and apologize to
Mhm.
get Hayley back into the science fair
Science.
because she not only dresses like a dominatrix, comes into class with her headphones and damn near cuss out her teacher.
Yeah.
That teacher was so patient with her bitch ass because I would have been like, you go to the principal's office now.
And she had to make up the test, like
Mhm.
do an oral exam, and she's just like, I don't know.
Right.
Like,
So bad.
Yeah. And
The-
this is also where the parents think like they've actually cracked a code. And they're
Yeah.
like, look at them getting along.
I
Like,
love when the parents are called into the principal's office and they're like, you do whatever you want to do, but it can't come from us. please."
Right.
I'm like, this is me in every parent teacher meeting fucking ever.
Dang.
The parents too, like I also like that the principal now has empathy for the girls because she's like, look at these fucked up parents not doing anything for these kids. But she also witnesses the kids like being kind to each other
Mhm.
and stepping up. So that was really cool to see. But then Hayley and Alexia decide to stay up all night. They're studying, they're doing all stuff, but they're trying to wait so that they can look at the stars and wish or whatever. So there's scenes where they are sleeping outside, having kind of like a little sleepover, which is super cute. And then they fall asleep on the couch I think it's a different night, and their parents bring them to bed. But Hayley, as Alexia, wakes up and sees the star, wishes upon it, wakes up the next day, but she's still in Alex's body, so she's really, really sad and torn up, like, oh my God, I'm going to be stuck in this body. As much as I thought the grass was greener, I want to be in my body. I want to
Mhm.
present at the science fair. Like, I don't want this anymore. And she's devastated because she thinks that, like, they can't turn back.
Yeah.
And it takes her a little bit before she tells Alex what's going on. Which
And
sucks.
in the meantime, like you said, Alexia as Hayley has to present her findings at the science fair and like not, and then at this point, like Alexia is really invested and is like, has learned what the project is and is able to present it. And so she does make it to nationals. So she's really excited. And then that evening is,
Did we find out though? Because they say that they won't know till the next day, which is after the
Oh.
dance. So I don't know if we ever find out if she made it or not. Because I was always curious. I'm like, did she get to nationals?
I think it's alluded to, like she
Yeah.
did really well. Like she, especially since it wasn't really her project. No one knows that, but yeah, the fact that she was able, because she couldn't find her note cards, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
she just
So-
started telling a story, essentially.
Yeah.
And I thought it was sweet because also Hayley does Alex's college interview. And they ask her who her role model is, and she literally says myself, essentially, like my
Yeah.
sister. But I thought that was sweet too. So
Yeah.
there's like a chance she did well with that as well.
That, and then I thought it was cool too that the kid next door, Simon, winds up crushing on Hayley as Alexia, and he kisses her, and then he's like, well, like, we have more in common. Like at first thought Hayley was cute, and then Alexia's like, oh no, like because she knows that like they're gonna switch back, and she's like, wait, you think I'm cute? But she's like, oh well, you should get to know her more because we're a lot more similar. And I think that was cute too, in a way, for her to hear that someone was attracted to her, not as Alexia and just her body
Yeah.
out there without her.
Yeah, because
in a
she
weird
does
way.
say, like, you're attracted to me physically. That's why you like me. And he's like, no, actually, I liked your sister.
yeah.
So I'm like,
It's-
oh, okay.
It's what's inside that matters. is what he says. And I'm
Please.
like, I bet you're banking on that too.
So now we're at the dance because Hayley, as Alex, goes to the pep rally, I guess, to announce the winter festival queens
something.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Also at the school, they only have queens, it seems like there's no king.
Yeah.
Love that for us. Let's not waste our time here. And that's when Alex as Hayley is doing the science fair presentation.
Mhm.
And then they go and they get dressed. And at their school swimming pool, they meet up. And this is when Hayley as Alex confesses that she tried to wish upon a star and it didn't happen. And that's when Hayley as Alex, Jesus, Alex says, okay, truth, at the time I wished that I was you because I was kind of, like you were saying, envious of your life and how smart you are and stuff. So that was super sweet. So they're like, oh, that means we have time. So they go out, and of course, magically, there's the shooting star.
Well, and it's like they're sitting there and they're like watching different quadrants of the sky. We have all seen a shooting star, and by the time
I've never seen one.
You've never seen a shooting
Never?
star?
No.
Oh.
It's like a blink. You miss
Yeah,
it.
yeah, like it's
yeah.
by the time you register it's a shooting star, it's gone.
Right.
Like, it happens super quick. There is no time to be like, oh look, there's one. Let's make a
wish I
wish.
was
Like
Beyonce. Like
So
Yeah.
I was like, you should probably be looking in the same direction.
But they switch like automatically.
Yeah.
You know, usually it's always funny because when people do these body swaps, the initial swap is usually like overnight. But
Yeah.
when they swap back, it's like instantaneous a lot of the times.
Yeah.
And it's like, dang, like I don't know. I think it's the buildup and like the whole like, oh, I'm gonna wake up and like, oh my God, I'm not who I
Right.
don't see myself. I think it's that buildup or that trope in terms of doing the overnight versus like immediate.
Yeah.
I mean, they were both outside, so could you imagine like she's like sitting watching the stars and she's
Yeah.
in the hot tub and they immediately switch when they
Yeah.
actually wish?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that would have been a mess. And then we are back at the dance and we find
Mhm.
out that Alex won. Surprise, surprise.
what?
And the
I did
band,
not see that coming.
I know, out of nowhere. The band Moon Pools and Caterpillars are featured in this movie, and they do
Love.
2 songs. Her outfit, wild. Wild.
I love these songs in this movie. Like I have them in my Apple Music or whatever. Like I downloaded them a long time ago off of LimeWire, like where I was just like,
Oop.
what is these songs from this movie? Like, but yes.
I agree, and I love the songs. And then I do love this end scene because one, Haley Haley finds Simon and they, are able to connect and they're dancing. And her outfit is so adorable. Love
It
her
really
red
is.
her red dress. And then her sister gives her tiara.
Yeah.
And then they like hold hands and have like a whole moment. It's so sweet.
It's
And
almost Romeo and Michelle-esque, like,
Yeah.
funny enough, Katherine Heigl was in, I don't like to talk about it, but she an ABC Family prequel of Romeo and Michelle high school reunion.
I didn't know there
Um,
was a prequel.
yes, yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Blink once if you've seen it.
I'm gonna have to find that now. I'm scared because
Yeah.
usually it's probably not that great,
But yeah, the movie fades. The two sisters are just longingly looking at each other, so happy, lovingly. And that's it. That is Wish Upon a Star.
We did it.
We did
Woo!
it.
Do you think they ever, like, once they got older, like, talk about this? Like, remember that? Like, how long did they switch to? Like, remember that week we switched bodies? Like,
Probably.
I will, like, never stop talking about it. I'm like, oh my God, remember that time? Like,
It's just
We were
because,
magic.
yeah, it's so crazy. Like, that would mentally fuck with me because then I would be like, okay, well, then clearly there's magic in the world. So what else can I do? Or can I wish for something else? I'd be wishing on a fucking star every day.
that's hilarious. Oh my God.
All right, what other fun facts did we miss?
The real Hunter High basketball team played the opposing team, the Wolverines, in the basketball game.
Okay. Danielle Harris said in a 2017 interview that this is one of her favorite roles because it's one of the only comedic roles she's ever done, and she still watches it whenever it comes on. I love that.
She
As
did
she
such a
should.
great, both actresses did a fantastic job. Like, I was
Yes.
like, this is so well acted, especially for being like a low budge Disney Channel movie. Like, I'm like, no notes.
Yeah.
And it's not like cheesy or like too like,
No.
where there's some 80s movies, that you're just like, "Ugh," like I love you, but damn, like, lower the cheese ick factor a little bit, like it's a
Yeah.
little cringy. And there was no cringe here. I think everything aged well, like
Yeah.
for the most part.
Except the table dance hurt, and like when you think of their age, okay, maybe
Okay,
she was
yeah.
about 18 when she filmed this. If Katherine was 17, it's still
Mhm.
weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. But everything
Yeah.
else, you're right.
And Danielle Harris was quite nervous about shooting the table dance scene, which actually does not appear in most TV versions of the movie. So she asked if she could choose the people who were sitting at the table, and she ended up picking the boys who would be most uncomfortable watching her to make herself more comfortable while performing.
Oh.
I wonder how she figured that out. But like, do you think I'm cute? Okay, no, you can't sit. You can't sit
Yeah.
at the table.
Well, and then we had that guy at the balcony, like gyrating. And I was like, boy, what are you doing?
None of those people had rhythm. There was like every
No.
person they showed on
It's
screen was like,
Colorado.
like was that? I was like, oh my God, is he having a seizure? What is
It was-
happening?
Yikes.
It was bad. It was really bad. As we said, this movie was shot in Utah. It was filmed at Hunter High School, and they filmed from 95 to about early 1996. And I think that's it. I think that's
If you have
it. Commentary or thoughts on this movie, or you loved it like we do there, that's the only option. You loved this movie? Hit us up at No More Late Fees on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Threads, Blue Sky. And let's get into our present day ratings. We'll start with you, Bria. Now, after rewatching it years later, how do you feel?
You know what? I'm going single day rental. No. Would buy again. I need to get the DVD that Danielle has or buy it from Prime especially these days with
I
like
know.
the media space being like, are we gonna have things anymore? So
Yeah.
I would put this in my vault of things that I would like to still be able to watch again.
Facts. Jackie?
I'm sticking with my 5-day rental. I
Mhm.
enjoyed it on the rewatch.
She's not seeking it out again.
I mean, since I have the DVD still, I would buy it again. It didn't have a lot of special features. Like literally listen to what the special features are. Digitally mastered audio and video, full screen presentation, subtitles, filmographies, interactive menus, scene selections. So we weren't getting much. There's no bonuses, but it's still worth. And if you go to our Amazon store, it's in there.
If you have any comments about Wish Upon a Star, hit us up at our quick drop 909-601-6653. Twat us at the Twitters, hem us at the threads, butterfly in the sky at Blue Sky, and you can be featured on a future episode. And it's Stephanie's birthday, Danielle.
Oh, awesome. It's
Very
Stephanie.
happy birthday to Stephanie. We
Happy
absolutely
birthday,
adore
Stephanie. It's
Yeah,
happy birthday,
Aquarius.
Stephanie.
you. We love
Hi.
you and thank you for supporting the podcast.
And don't miss next week's episode as Nick is back and we're covering
So
Heartbreakers.
much to Bria for joining us. It was a pleasure as always.
As
Thank
always.
you. Thank you for having me.
And if we're ever in a pinch, if someone gets sick, then we have our designated hitter lined up.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
And as always, be kind and rewind.